What's up, guys? This is your boy Just Minus here with another video deck profile. And today what I have for you is a Megalith deck profile. It's mostly a pure variant of the deck, so there's no Dryton engine in this. So just letting you know. Also no Cyber Angel Bente, I think that's what it's called. Because I believe it's going to get limited or banned at some point because of Drytons. Anyways, let's just go ahead and just get started. I also want to let you guys know so that I won this mat right here during the 12 days marathon sweepstakes that YuGiOh was holding, I think last month, and I was one of the winners. It's a really nice mat actually. The colors pop a lot, and I really do love the artwork with Kaiba and the blue eyes. I don't believe this is regular blue eyes, so I don't remember what it was called, but really nice artwork. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyways, we're going to start it off with 3 copies of Megalith Ophiel. So with Ophiel, if it's ritual summoned, you can search for any Megalith monster and add it to your hand. And that's not a hard one to return, so, you know, that's pretty cool. So just search any Megalith monster. During your main phase, you can tribute this card to tribute summon a Megalith monster that equals or exceeds the monster that needs to be tributed to. That one is a hard one to return. So 3 copies of Ophiel, because he's one of your starters. Put it right there. Then for the next 3, we have Megalith, Hagith. Same thing as Ophiel. If this card is tribute summoned, this one searches for the Megalith spell or trap cards. Again, that is not a hard one to return, but a second effect of tribute summoning from the hand, that one's a hard one to return. At 3. Then we have 2 copies of Megalith Fool. Probably the best card of the deck. With this guy, if you ritual summon it, you can add a Megalith card in your graveyard, and after that, its level becomes the level of that target. So a really good card. And then during the main phase, you can quick effect activate the effect to ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from the hand or deck by tributing monsters from the hand or field whose level total or are total equal or exceeded. That one's a hard one. Actually, both effects are hard ones to return, but a really good card. One way to get into it is with the quick play spell card from of the Megalith's archetype. So 2 copies of that. Then we run 1 copy of Megalith Oak. If this card is ritual summon, draw 1 card and discard 1 card. And then during the main phase, quick effect, activate the effect to ritual summon 1 ritual monster from the hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field, including this card on the field. So this goes into any ritual monster. That's why it makes it one of the most popular Megalith cards, because it can tribute into any ritual monster that you have in your deck. Only one of them, so if it gets banished, well, that sucks. But hard ones per turn. One of only. Then we have the bigger Megalith monsters, the level 8s. This is Megalith Adoratron. This guy, he's the one that lets you discard it during the main phase in any main phase. So in the opponent's turn as well. Quick effect, discard the card and then ritual summon 1 Megalith monster from your hand. And then its secondary effect is when your opponent activates a card effect that targets a card you control. Quick effect, you can place a ritual monster from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, negate the activation. And if you do that, destroy it. Hard ones per turn. But yeah, only 1 copy of. Then 1 copy of Megalith Phaleg. With this guy, he's not a quick effect like Aeratron, but you can still discard this guy to ritual summon a Megalith monster. And the second effect is monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in your graveyard. Which, if you have like 10 cards in there, these guys can get really big. So he's your OTK, one of your OTK conditions in the deck. Next we have Megalith Bethor. This guy is the most troll card in this deck. The build that I have is essentially I set up to summon this guy in the opponent's main phase. So with him, same thing as the other level 8 monsters, you discard him, and you contribute summon a Megalith monster from the hand. But its second effect is the most popular. If this card is ritual summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls equal to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard and destroy them. So if you have 5 ritual monsters in your graveyard, you can pop up to 5 cards your opponent controls, which is insane. Actually, most of the video duels that I have recorded, unfortunately, I could not finish the duel because people would rage quit. So you're just gonna see a bunch of video replays of people rage quitting before the end of the game. But really, they're really the best card in my opinion for my build. But only one of. Then my tech card, Necros of YuGiOh. Everybody knows what this guy does. If he's on the field, you negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field that were special summoned from the extra deck. So it pretty much stops, any super combo-y, decks that use the extra deck monsters a lot, which is nowadays almost every deck. A lot of people run what's his name, Magician of Black Chaos. I think that's his name, or Black Magician of Chaos Max. I don't know. He's a level 8. Essentially, that level 8 monster. I don't have the card, but if you do, I'd probably run it over this one. But what it essentially does is, if it's special summon, you tribute it, and your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn, which is insane. It does require more cost though, because obviously it's a level 8, so you need to have monsters that equal level 8, and then you have to tribute a monster. So it's a 50-50 really, but I prefer this guy. Yeah, I prefer this guy, definitely. So yeah, one copy of Necros of YuGiOh. And then we have my incantation package in the deck, which is 3 incantation Callous Lime. He starts the combo. Essentially, you reveal this card, discard 1 card, special summon an incantation monster from the deck, and yeah, usually you go into incantation candle right here. If this card special summon, that's when you add the ritual spell card. And 1 copy of this guy. And then we have Incantation Talismandra, which searches the ritual monster, any ritual monster, when it's special summoned. And then for the next cards, I have 3 hand traps right here. Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Everybody knows what this one does. Then I have, for the last monster lineup, is 3 Manji of the 10,000 Hands. Everybody knows what he does. For those who don't, when he's normal or flip summoned, you can add 1 ritual monster or any 1 ritual spell card from the deck to your hand. Really good card. It's a really old card too, and you just have to run it in any ritual deck, honestly. So that was the monster lineup. Now we're gonna move on to the spell cards. One thing I have to mention is just really none of these. This one didn't get a higher rarity, which is a shame because it's one of the better ones. Same as Haggith. I would have wanted to see it in super rare, but that was the only one that got super, Ophiel, and the level 8 Erachon. I wish they would have gotten more hollows, to be honest, but it is what it is. For the spell cards now, I have 2 copies of Megalith Unformed. And these are not hard ones per turn. So the first effect is all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack for each ritual monster on the field until the end of this turn. I rarely use that effect. The one I use the most is this one. Ritual summon 1 Megalith ritual monster from your deck in defense position by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total level equals exactly twice its level. So if you want to summon, let's say, an Megalith Erachon, you're gonna have to tribute 16 levels essentially. If you want to special summon a level 4, you have to tribute up level 8. But I don't usually go for those. I usually go for obviously Megalith Full, which is a level 2, and you only have to tribute a level 4 for that. So that's the main monster you go for. You go for Megalith Full when using this card. Unless you're really in a pickle, then you tribute a level 8 to special summon a level 4. But 2 up for this guy. Then we have the field spell, Megalith Portal. Essentially, the first time each ritual summon monster would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. But its most important effect is if a Megalith monster is special summoned to your side of the field, you can target a ritual monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And that's any ritual monster. It doesn't have to be a Megalith. So, really cool. Then I only run 1 copy of Incantation Inception because you can recycle it as long as you have a incantation card in your hand. So essentially, you can ritual summon any ritual monster, but the materials have to be incantation monsters for tributes, for tributing. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can send an incantation card from the hand or face of field to the grave, and then special summon one incantation monster from the deck, and add this card from the graveyard after that. So, like I said, it recycles itself, so I only run one of. Then I have 2 extra Foolish Burial. Pay half your life points, send the monster from the extra deck to the graveyard, but you cannot set spell or trap cards during the turn you activate this card. So this is really just to go into Herald, and then Herald pitch the Incantation Slime. So, just 2. And lastly, for the spells, 3 in Preparation of Rites. It lets you add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from the deck to your hand. Then you can add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand. So again, it recycles back the incantation spell card. So 3 of. So that's it for spells. I'm going to move on to the trap cards. Here I have a copy of Megalith Emergence. So not a lot of people play this, but I actually find it to be one of the best cards. That's why I only run. I mean, it's good to just run one of them. And its effect is essentially you target a Megalith monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, and place it at the end. Place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field, even if this card has already left the field. Keep in mind though, just like the general rule is you have to, if you special summon a monster from the graveyard, unless it's a regular monster, but if it's like an XC, Ritual, Synchro, or Fusion, you have to first successfully summon it on the field beforehand, and then you can special summon it from the graveyard. But if you discard it per se, let's say you discard Megalith Feleg, the level 8, and you want to special summon it, you can't, because that monster was never properly tribute summoned from the beginning. So keep that in mind. But yeah, good card. And then we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. It's a good hand trap, It can disrupt your opponent. And lastly, 3 copies of Dryton Meteor Shower. So this card is when your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters, when you control a ritual monster, negate that summon, and if you do, shuffle that monster into the deck. That's why I like this card, because it doesn't destroy it, it doesn't banish it, it shuffles it back into the deck, so it's almost like you're not playing it. It's like the card was never played. Keep in mind though that it doesn't stop things like inherit summons that pay costs, right? But it does stop regular summons like Link Summoning, XC Summoning, Synchro Summoning, and whatnot. So really good card. Now there's a lot of different other cards you can play instead of these. You can play Pot of Extravagance for the engine, a draw engine. You can play Solemns. Solemns, I would say, are probably better than this card. Although, for my purposes, since I'm always ritual summoning, this is just more fun for me. So that's it for the trap cards. That's actually it for the main deck. Now we're going to move on to the extra deck, which I don't really use a lot. It's just here just to have it. But here we go. I'm going to start off with 1 copy of Cross Sheep. And then I'm just going to go with the source effect, really, because it's the only one I would use. But if a ritual summon monster is summoned into one of the pointers, draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. So that's what that does. I rarely even play it, to be honest with you. Then I have Geonator Transverser. This was probably the most troll card. This link card and monster points cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And then, if this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. Now that's evil right there. I have pulled it off. Here and there. Then I have 2 copies of Nephthys the Sacred Flame. He's probably the only one I really go into because he has really powerful effects. This guy gains effects based on the number of ritual monsters use as materials for its Link Summon. 1 or more cannot be destroyed by battle. 2 or more cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, it gains 1200 attack. And lastly, if it was 3, neither player can target this card with card effects. Also, it gains another 12. So at the end of it, if you do successfully summon it with 3 ritual monsters, it can't be targeted by card effects. It can't be destroyed by battle. And it gains 24 at the end of it. So it becomes a 4800 beat stick. It's a really good card. Oh, and obviously can't be the survey card effects. So can't be survey battle card effects, can't be target card effects, and it's a 48 beat stick. So a good card. I'll probably bump it up to 3. I don't know yet. Then we have a Link 4 Boral Lord Dragon. Everybody knows what this guy does. Then Boral Sword Dragon, OTK. But I actually don't really play him because I have the Nephthys monster. Then a 5-headed Link Dragon. Honestly, this is just if you find yourself in a situation where your monster effects are negated. But if you have 5 monsters or so, summon this guy, and he's unaffected by all card effects. He's a 5,000 attack beat stick, and you have to make sure that during your opponent's end phase, you have to banish 5 cards from the graveyard face down, and it is not optional. So if you can't manage to do that, you have to send this card to the graveyard. But other than that, if he's on the field, unaffected by card effects, nothing can touch it, and 5,000 beat stick. Really good card. For, decks that can swarm the field, and Megaliths, at least my build, can swarm the field. And then these are just random. Well, the XC lineup is not random, we'll say, but it's probably what I come up with the best, in my opinion. It's number 41, Baguska. If he's on defense, negate the activated effects of all monsters on the field that are in defense. And once returned during your standby phase, you must detach one material from this card and establish it or destroy it. So as long as, if you're going to play it defensively because you can't come up with anything else, special summon it in defense. And for 2 turns, you'll survive because obviously your opponent's monsters will go into defense and their effects would be negated. So it just stalls. Daigusto Emerald, just recycled cards. Detach 1, target 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck, and then draw a card. Or target 1 non-effect monster in your graveyard, special summon the target. But I don't have a non-effect monster here. Abyss Dwellers stops anything graveyard related monsters that activate in the graveyard by just detaching 1 card. So really cool. And it's not just monster star, it's any card effect, so it stops Tritons. Then Gallant's Granite, detach 1, and then you can add 1 rock monster from your deck to your hand, which your Megalith monsters are all rock. Or detach 1 to special summon a rock monster from your hand in face down defense position. Although that one you probably won't see it as much because you can't just special summon Megalith monsters like that because you need to ritual summon them. But yeah, it lets you add Megalith monsters to your hand. Then we have Gaga Cowboy. This is really just a troll card at this point because I don't know what the heck else to run. But man, I can't wait to pull this one off. For all those OG players, what this card essentially does is you detach 1 card and apply one of these effects depending on its position. Attack position. If this card attacks an opponent's monster this turn, it gains 1,000 attack. Also, the opponent's monster loses 500 attack during the damage step only. But its best effect will always be the Cowboy for game. Inflict 800 damage to your opponent if it's in defense. So, I say it's still a good card, You never know when you're going to use it. And then the next 2 are going to be 2 copies of Herald of Arclight. Again, this is just to search and pitch your ritual monsters. So you send this to the graveyard and you add a ritual monster to the hand. So cool. Lastly, 1 copy of Elder Entity Natis. I really don't know how to pronounce that. But if this card sends to the graveyard, destroy 1 card on the field. And you send it with the extra Foolish Burial, if need be. And yeah, that was it, guys. That was my Megalith deck profile. Stick around for those videos, replay videos of the duels with the Megalith deck. Again, I do apologize. They're all very short because people just rage quit when I pulled off the combo. But I think you guys will like it. So yeah, enjoy the weekend. Happy Valentine's. This is your boy Just Minus, and I am out.